Hello, everyone. I'm Teresa. Welcome to Fresh Paradigms. I will be chatting with business owners who created or adapted their small businesses in COVID times. With COVID-19, there is a strong need to manage our stress and calm our mind. My guest today has a business which makes stress management possible.
Yeah.
Friends, let's welcome Felice, the owner of the Knit Apothecary. Hey, Felice,
Hey,
welcome.
thank you. I'm glad to be here.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm feeling great.
Good, good.
Now, in your website, you said knitting became a big part of your self care.
Yes.
Your approach is a great idea. It's a great idea, which I'm so excited to share it with everyone. So, thank you for that.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
So, to start, tell us a bit of yourself.
Pardon, repeat that again, sorry?
Uh, Tell us a bit of yourself.
Oh, a bit about myself. Okay, well, I first learned to knit at 8 years old. I learned in school. Uh, so one day at school they had an announcement for a knitting club, and it was around winter time. It was really cold at that time, and I didn't want to go out for lunchtime recess actually. So I decided, okay, whether I could go out there and freeze my butt off or I could join knitting club. So I just joined knitting club to stay inside, and the class was a really good turnout. It was really fun. That first class, I caught on really quickly. The teacher was so patient. She taught us all the basic techniques. And from that point, I fell in love with knitting. I would go home and practice, and, I would practice my stitches, practice my techniques. Um, it would be years, though, until I picked up my needles again. Quite a few number of years would pass until I picked up my needles again. And then when I started knitting, I fell in love with it all over again. Um, it did so much for me. Knitting has really helped me through some stressful times. It was my creative outlet. It was my stress management outlet. Um, you know, at times it gave me like a sense of purpose. I don't know, something so as simple as knitting. It does so much for like the mind and body, and calming you, and making you feel peaceful. So yeah, I that's what I do. I fell in love with it.
What inspired you to create your business?
What inspired me? Well, so when I took up knitting again later in life, um,
How
you
many
know,
years,
how
Felice?
many, how many years would pass? I think it was about 15 years, maybe 15 years. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, early 20s, I picked it up again. So when I picked it up again, again, I fell head over heels for it. That's all I would talk about. My friends knew about it. They knew I was crazy about knitting. So I actually had a friend who suggested that I start a business. He's like, "Oh, if you can make stuff and sell it, and people would love it." And I was just like, "Oh, okay, whatever." But I dismissed it. I'm just like, I'm not knitting for people, right? And then after a while, a couple years later, actually, I started toying with the idea. I started toying with the idea. Oh, what would it be like to make things for people, right? And then the more I got into knitting, the more I thought about making my own designs, and you know what I mean, putting my own ideas and my own spin on things. And then plus with you know other fellow knitters and designers in the industry like really inspired me when I saw their work. And I was like, I think I could do this too. I think I could make a go of it. So yeah, that's what kind of propelled me in that direction. You know what I mean? What would it be like to, work at something that doesn't feel like work, right?
Is
Yeah.
there any particular person who inspired you to start this business? Is there any particular person?
Any particular person? Um, Nobody, I would say in particular. Um, I just kind of went for it. Like, what are the designers who I admire? Like, I admire, um, can't think of any names right now, but there are quite a few um, designers like who I follow and who I've done their patterns, and I was just sort of um, flabbergasted by like their level of talent. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? Kim Hargreaves, she's one. I love her stuff. Um, who else? Um, Brooklyn Tweed, I love his stuff. The designers for
So
Brooklyn Tweed. Yeah,
going back to your business, how
yeah.
does your business work?
How does my business work?
That's correct.
Yeah. So,
What's the process?
well, I don't, to be honest with you, I don't really have a steady process. So what I do is I create digital patterns, and I also I do plant dyeing. So I dye yarn with plants. So those are my two specialties in my business. In regards to the design part, I just, whenever inspiration hits me, um, I just go and I sketch and I design and I map out ideas. I try not to put too much pressure on myself, to be honest with you. I just kind of go with the flow. And I know that's kind of funny for a business, right? But I try not to force the process because, the whole point of it is to be enjoyable and not to stress myself out. So in terms of the design process, in order for me to remain authentic, I just kind of let ideas come to me and then I develop them. But really and truly, right now I've been kind of focusing on experimenting with yarn dyeing, with plant dyeing in particular. Right,
Oh,
because yeah, with dyeing with plants in particular, not traditional dyes, because I've become a little bit more social, environmentally conscious, so to speak, with fast fashion and manufacturing processes. That's really it's really inspired me to really think about what I consume, but also what I make, right? And the materials that I'm using, the processes that I'm employing to ensure that it's safe for the environment, it's safe for people. So that's why really the plant dyeing, I really took to it, because you know the environmental impact of some chemicals and the ingredients used in the chemicals, and when it gets into our water and into our groundwater, the impact that it can have on the animals and the plants and even our food, right? So that's why I particularly use plants and in my process for the yarn dyeing.
what particular plants or material did you use for dyeing, fabric dyeing?
So yarn
Yarn
dyeing,
dyeing, right?
avocado skins, avocado seeds. They make this really nice pink color.
Oh,
Yeah, mint, basil tea. Yep, black tea, coffee. Those are really good ingredients to use for plant dyeing. They give really beautiful, muted, subdued colors. So
oh.
yeah, I love using those ingredients, and I'm trying to experiment with more ingredients, but those are the ones that I've used so far.
Felice, there's a
Yes,
question here.
sure.
Uh, Someone is asking, how does plant dyeing work?
How does plant dyeing work? Okay, so what you do is you have to prepare the yarn, right? So you prepare the yarn with a mordant, right? So you soak your yarn with a mordant. The the solution that I experimented with is soy milk, right? So soy milk is a binding agent. So I soak the yarn in soy milk, and then while that's soaking, I prepare the dye bath. And how you do that is I use an iron pot, and I use an equal weight of plant material
Uh-huh.
to the weight of yarn that I'm using, and I allow that to slowly simmer in the pot. And what happens is when you do it on a low heat for a long time, it extracts the color from the material and it creates a dye bath. And then you strain it off, right? You strain off the trashy bits, and then it just leaves you with this pure dye bath. And then you soak your yarn in that dye bath on a low heat. And then you turn off the heat, you let it sit there, and the iron pot allows it to mordant, and then that's what happens in a
So
nutshell.
how long does it take for you to be able to use the yarn?
Well, it is a process. It does take about uh, I would say a week or two to really prepare
Wow.
the yarn. Yeah, it's very labor intensive, right? Because I'm a one man show. Also, you have to let the yarn dry in between soy milk baths, and
Uh-huh.
then you have to and then once it dries, and then you put it in the dye bath, right? You have to let the yarn, the dye adhere to the yarn and let it set for a few days. So it is a quite a few days. I would say about like a week or two to really get a good batch to let
Uh-huh.
the the dye, the plant dye, adhere to the yarn very well,
Uh-huh.
so that it remains color fast and light
Uh-huh.
fast before you can use it in any projects.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'd like to ask why the name the
the
knit
knit apothecary,
apothecary.
because an apothecary is in history, an apothecary was the person who um, gave the prescribed the ingredients, the medicine to the pharmacist, right? So they would make
Yes.
all sorts of concoctions, right, to heal people. So the knit apothecary, knitting in itself is healing, and I hope through my work, namely my patterns and even my yarn, that I'm doing the same thing too, right? Patterns, simple patterns that people can enjoy making,
Uh-huh.
can enjoy wearing, and can enjoy giving as gifts, right? And also with the yarn, the processes that I'm using, the fact that I'm incorporating mindfulness into my process, into the materials and the ingredients that I use, ensuring that the yarn that I'm using is ethical, that the animals are treated ethically, that my processes are ethical to the environment. It all goes into healing, not just the process of knitting as healing, but also what we're using, if that makes any sense.
That's very sustainable.
Yeah, yeah. That's exactly what I'm going for. That's exactly what I'm going for. Sustainability, right? Going back to me trying to be mindful of what I'm consuming, and and what I'm putting out there for others to consume. You want to make sure that it's beneficial for everybody involved.
Wow, that's awesome.
Thanks.
Now, how did you adapt to COVID precaution? Nowadays we have precaution
Hmm.
with your business. How did you adapt with COVID
Well,
precautions?
I wouldn't say I adapted because I started this venture during COVID, so there wasn't really any adaptation. I just kind of started. I'm a one woman show, right? So I don't really have any interaction with anybody. I do everything myself. My space is tidy and clean. When I'm working with materials, obviously I have to mask up and I have to put gloves on for safety, even though it's
Oh,
still plant dyed. You still want to be safe, because the ingredients could react. So I'm mindful of that. Also, my patterns, they're digital, right? They're
oh,
digital patterns, and everything is sold online,
oh.
right? So there's really no that social distancing right there. There's really no interaction with anybody. So yeah, I guess when I started it, I mean, it was already my process is already in line with the COVID-19 precautions or regulation.
There's a question here. Do you
Sure.
sell a starter beginner kit for knitting?
You know what? I was thinking about that. Not yet, but that's definitely something um, that is in the pipeline that I want to release around late October. I want to create a kit, but I want to create a kit with my own plant dyed yarn,
Oh,
um, right? My own plant dyed yarn. So that's definitely
in
in
the
the works.
making.
in the making. Yeah.
Wow. With COVID, how did you go beyond the fear of starting your business? Were you afraid?
Um, I was afraid, but I was, but it wasn't because of COVID. I think I was afraid before. And when I started it, I didn't really have COVID in mind, to be honest with you. I wasn't thinking about it. I, yeah, I wasn't thinking about COVID at all. I just decided that I was tired of being scared, and I just said, okay, just let me go for it. Just let me put myself out there, put my work out there, go for my dreams, because I think like in the past I've sort of let fear hold me back, and I decided this time around that I wasn't going to let fear hold me back. That I was going to take a chance, and if it went well, great. If I failed, I failed, but at least I tried, right? At least I tried. At least I tried to share something meaningful with people, and I'm sure there are one or two out there who would appreciate it, and that in itself is a success,
Mhm.
right? Sharing that and sharing like the concept
Uh-huh.
behind my business, right? Is for us to just to be mindful about everything that we're consuming, going back to basics, creating things with our hands, not just buying a bunch of stuff, but really making something with meaning, and of taking care of ourselves, and also giving too, right? Giving something, not just buying something and putting it in a box, but actually putting your sweat and your love into something and giving it to somebody. It means so much more than I think than just ordering something online.
There's another question, Felice. What's the most fulfilling thing that has happened to you since you started this journey?
The most fulfilling thing, I think just me starting is fulfilling, right? Just the fact that I took the chance and I started was fulfilling. The fact that the website I created myself, I'm self-taught. The fact that I've come to this level, especially with the yarn dyeing, with the designing, is fulfilling. I published a pattern on Ravelries. One pattern, there's more in the works, it's just one, but the fact that I put myself out there, I put my work out there, I put my name on something, and I put my work out there for people to see is really, really fulfilling, and that people like it is really heartwarming to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um, I'll confess, I have never picked up a knitting needles.
Okay.
So can you teach us a simple knitting technique? Can you show us?
Absolutely, I can. So I have to adjust my camera so that you
Sure.
can see. Because I want you guys to see. Uh, Flip it down. Oh, sure that you guys. What are you seeing? The roof? Okay. Okay,
Yes.
there we go.
Oh, there you go. I can
Okay,
see it now.
you can see it now. Good stuff. So I'll show you guys the knitting technique that I think you'll like. So this is a scarf that I made before, right? With the yarn. So I'm going to show
Gorgeous.
you. Thank
So
you.
gorgeous.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to show you what I do here. So this is a ball of yarn. Oops. This thing is running away from me here. Much better, much better. So can you see what I'm doing?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a ball of yarn.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And I'm going to show you, number one, how to cast on. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you were talking about that loop. So I'm going to
Yeah.
show you how to do the loop. So to do the loop, take your finger like so, twist, pull through. Okay. And that's your loop. Then you insert your needle through your loop, and this counts as your first stitch. Now what I'm going to show you how to do, on my IG, there is I show you the long tail cast on, but I'm going to show you the cable cast on today.
This is
This
the
one is
basic
super easy.
one.
Yeah, this is basic, right?
Uh-huh.
So you put your needle through your loop like so. Okay. You take your yarn, put it around the back needle, okay? Pull through and loop on. Now you have 2 stitches, okay? Needle through the second loop. Take your yarn. This is your working yarn. Put it around your needle. Pull through and on. Okay, I'll do another one slowly. Insert the needle through the loop through the back. Take your yarn, put it around, pull through, loop on. And then you continue, okay, for the number of stitches that you need to start your project. So this is how you cast on. Now I'll show you how to do a knit stitch because it's very similar to what I did. So with the knit stitch now, so we have, what do we have here? We have 7 stitches. Sorry, we have 7 stitches. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the needle through the loop through the back. So in, around, through, and off.
Wow.
In, through the back loop, through the back, around, through, and off. And this is a knit stitch. This is a knit stitch, okay? And this is how you do it. So those are 2 techniques, a cast on and a knit stitch. And then you created a row, then what you would do, you would turn it around, always ensure that your working yarn, so this is the tail end, always ensure that your working yarn is on this side, and then you start again on this side, in, around, through, and off. You're seeing me well, right?
Yes. Yes. You make it look so easy to do it.
It really is easy. It is really, really easy. This is the easiest stitch to get. Just a couple, maybe an hour or 2 of practice, anybody can get it. Anybody can get it.
Just an hour? How long does it?
An hour of concentrated practice.
How long does it take to learn to knit well? Not an hour.
It all depends, right? It all depends on how much time you put into it, right? You're basically training your hands. Sorry. You're basically training your hands. So after a while, it becomes easier. You do have to put in a couple hours of practice. Some people do catch on faster than some. But knitting, it teaches you patience, right? Knitting teaches you patience. You have to be patient. You have to be patient in learning how to knit. You have to be patient in becoming more adept to knitting. And you also have to be patient when you're creating a project. Even somebody like me who's experienced, I have to be patient when creating a project. The whole design process, you can't rush it. You have to be patient. Or even if you're not designing, even if you're working off of a pattern that somebody created, you have to be patient, right? Because it takes time. So you have to enjoy the process. So for anybody who wants to learn, don't take it too seriously. Enjoy the process, enjoy the learning process, make mistakes. You know what I mean? Drop stitches. There's gonna be holes in your project, and that's okay. That's okay. It doesn't mean that you're a failure. It just means that you're learning, right? Just get comfortable with working with the yarn, working with your needles, improving your dexterity. And I would say if you dedicate at least an hour a day, I would say every day, or even if you can't do it every day, I'd say maybe an hour a day, say maybe 3-4 times a week. I'd say in 3 months, you should have a pretty good handle on the techniques.
Oh, you'll be
Yeah.
proud of me.
But oh, look at you. Look at you. Oh my God, that's beautiful. That is beautiful.
You, you you said
That's a
this is the
beautiful
first
knot.
step. Yeah, this is the
See?
first.
Now, see, that's the first step. Now you gotta create some more.
Oh my God. Hey, Felice, there's one question here.
Sure.
How has your relationship with knitting changed from when you started to now?
How has it changed? I think I've come to love it more. I've come to love it more. I've come to appreciate it. Knitting is definitely a part of me. It's a part of my self-care routine. It's just a part of who I am. It's what I do, right? Um it's my medium of creativity. Um with knitting, it like I said, it's helped me through some of my most stressful times. It's helped me to develop patience. It's helped me to develop confidence, more confidence, really and truly. I know it sounds really funny, something as simple as a ball of yarn and some needles, but it's true. It really has. And um, it's really a labor of love. You know, it's a labor of love, and it's something that you can share with people, and it builds community. It's like it's really helped me to, um, build friendships and meet people, and we have something in common, and it's a great talking point. So, yeah, I've come to love knitting more. It's come to be a really integral part of who I am.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
To wrap things up, Felice, what advice can you give to those who are dreaming or creating their business today?
Go for it. Turn your dreams into a reality. Um, don't hold back. Don't allow fear to hold you back. Just go for it. Go for it. If it's something that you're really passionate about, pursue it. Do your research. You know what I mean? Have a plan, right? Have a plan and follow through, and don't let anybody or anything stop you or talk you out of it, not externally or internally. Negative thoughts, self doubt. It's natural to feel those feelings, but just overcome them. Don't allow them to stop you from what you really want to do, right? Because I mean, it's so worth it. All the late nights and the and the sleepless nights and the staying up late and having to get this done. It's so worth it. It can be stressful, but it's a good stress because it's like it's your baby. You know what I mean? Like think about a mother staying up with her child at night and feeding her baby and nursing her baby. Yeah, she's tired, but it's worth it. So in the same way, I know it's a bit of an extreme analogy, but it's the same way when starting your business. That's your baby. That's a part of you. That is your creation. So, um, yeah, every minute of stress and hard work and fatigue is worth it because it's yours and it's something that you're starting. It's something you can be proud of.
Wow. Felice, how can we reach you? There's a question. How can we reach you if they want to order?
They can send me an email at info@thenithapothecary.com. They can reach me on my website. There's a contact form there, um, and I'll get that. Or they can reach me on Instagram, the Knit Apothecary, and they can send me a DM. Those are the ways that they can reach me.
Oh, thank you so much, Felice, for your sharing your journey with us. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. And I really appreciate being here and for everybody who listened. And, I really appreciate the space. Thank you so much.
And for everyone who shared their time with us, thank you so much. And stay tuned for another discovery of small business in COVID times. Let's all support small business, right?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, be safe, take care, and
Same.
bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.